All right, my friend, this is how we do croissants. So I gotta grab the flour and the dough. Hey, hey. This is gonna be your future video. Jack, you are right there. I'm walking in here getting something. Okay. So our dough is gonna be like really wet. We're putting a ton of flour down because it's gonna need it to be able to move on the surface, and we're gonna brush it off anyway. So and if you recall, this was about a third that size. It's risen quite a bit and it's nice and cool, which is good for our cold but malleable situation with the butter. We want cold but malleable. And this guy is quite perfect. It feels almost a little too warm. I've left it out for a little bit too long to warm back up. But see, we gotta press this down. And this is kind of the, oh, that's real cold. Okay, so although the butter got, I don't want this part to get too floury, just the underneath surface, so it can roll around good. It has to be able to roll very freely, spread out, stretch very freely. So what I'm doing is just flattening this out. It's a perfect circle, really. That's what I've actually found works best. You know, sometimes people do like flaps that fold over like an envelope. I have found the circle is just the best method. It works itself out anyway with all your folds. Yeah, this is quite warm. Interesting. Okay, so that goes right there in the middle. I think it's just warm on the outside. We're gonna be fine, especially with this. So then you fold these over like an envelope. Oh, this dough is perfect. It's nice and cold, it's rested. Nice and cold and it's rested. So all those gluten chains have been able to relax. Okay, now we need a scraper and a rolling pin. I took Dick's nice scraper. Hope that's okay. Now I'm putting a ton of flour on the top here, so I'm gonna flip this dough, baby. Oh, we're gonna need a brush too. Doing a lot more flour. Okay, and I don't really like using the handles very much. And this is, I'm pressing quite hard because I want to feel that butter spread out a bit, loosen up a little bit, you know, like because I don't want to go after the spreading out, the rolling too aggressively, because that might break my block. So then I start this process pretty gently, so I just don't want it to break. Right now it's this is a phase where it could break. Go in the other direction. And we're gonna start with our trifold. We're getting this big enough to do a trifold or a letter fold. Okay, we're doing good there. Feel it spreading out without breaking, forming into chunks, breaking into chunks. God, this dough is awesome. And the way we made that dough, it was like you commented that it was wet, pretty wet, but that was drier than I've usually done it. So this feels kind of dry to me, but I'm noticing that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing what's proper with the croissant dough. It's forming a very stable barrier on the outside of our butter. And since the dough was dry, the gluten chains were going to be a little bit stronger, I think. Okay, see, I got to use this now because it's getting so big. And I need some speed, and it's getting flexible enough to where I don't need to press as hard. That's a part of why I do that, is because I have more control over how much I press. Get that down there, okay. I hope this isn't too freaking long. Oh no! See, that's another bad part about it. Like, so you hold this guy, and no matter what, your fingers are getting real close to this very pretty delicate layer, the surface, the dough. We don't want to tear it, and I just did a little gouge in it with my fingernail. So that's why I don't like using the handles if I can avoid it. But you get to a point where damn it, I did it again, where you need to. Okay, so now I need a brush because I need to brush off all the flour. This guy's a little wet, which is actually going to be okay, and you're going to see why here in a second. Dude, this is actually super fun, like narrating this process for this video. We're at 7.5 minutes, though. I would be bored as fuck if it was 7.5 minutes long. That's why I'm trying to make it entertaining. You know, I should do the whole thing in a coffee talk accent.
Oh, no, please, no. You can't do that. I'm nixing that.
So now we need some water because our butter is encased in a very dry dough layer. So we do need some. Okay, you left. So now my motivation for the coffee talk accent has diminished. But we need the water. I just grabbed a little thing of water because we got a trompe. Moisten. We gotta moisten this in strategic spots. Just this corner, I just did a trifold, and the 1/3 that I folded over, I just did some dabs of water, because then that'll make like a glue, so these guys will actually form together. See, and this is what this looks like now. And that was a pretty dope shot, I think. So then, now I'm scraping all this flour onto the top because I'm gonna flip it over onto that side, resulting in the flour being underneath. Okay. So now we got a lot of flour on the inside, but no flour on the inside. And this is taking quite a bit of force, so I'm not using the handles. And I don't like using the handles until I need like a very uniform pressure when it's flexible enough. Where I don't need a ton of pressure. I'm trying to go for uniformity, so I'm gonna use the handles. Back to, and this is quite a bit of force, like I said. but I'm being careful, like the edge of the rolling pin. It's like going through the middle and being very careful not to break through the dough. It seems to be holding up pretty good. Like I said, back to the comment about it being drier. I feel like the dough that we got going right at the beginning, since it was drier, that means those gluten chains, I think, are smashing into each other more vigorously and forming stronger chains, which creates that interconnected lattice network of gluten chains, which is where we get the shape and the structure of bread, as I understand it. And or when we get a very stable and resistant layer like this that's able to hold a cold but malleable butter encased within it. I'm brushing all of this off. Usually I have a much bigger brush than this, so this goes faster. And I just get those 99-cent cheapo brushes. All right, and then we just did a book turn. You can see what that looks like. And the thickness, like that you're going for, is just a feel based on how easy is it gonna be to form my book turn. How can I get it to be that shape? And not only am I trying to achieve the book turn shape, but also I want the book to look in such a way so that it's going to be ready to go to start rolling out. Because it's possible to get that book turn, but it's like so thick, it's like a big ball, and it's just really hard to work with. What I've done here is made it so it's like already pretty flat and stretched out. So I'm like ready to start rolling it again. Okay, now this. Lots of flour on top. Okay. And then when I flipped her over, look at that coming out the edge there. This guy should be right on top of each other. I don't know, am I totally flipping you around? I don't know, man. Should have been like right on top of each other. A little bit of a mistake there. And I don't know if I can actually fix that. Oh, yep, I did. Okay. That doesn't normally happen to me, and it's actually not even that big of a deal. But it bothered me. Like, we're not gonna, every turn, you know, the letter turn, book turn, like every part of this process, you're distributing dough and butter. And you want like every square millimeter of the dough to be, like your whole dough to be a uniform distribution of layers of butter and dough. And that just doesn't happen. You know, like when we first started and we rolled it out, that butter block had like a 3-inch border around it of dough, because it's just impossible, you know, it's just how it happened. But then when I folded it into my trifold, next time the border around the butter within was much smaller and kind of even hard to distinguish, like where does the butter start, where's the dough start. So by the time you get through all of your turns, you've created like 468 layers or something. And pretty likely that every square millimeter is going to have some substantial lamination going on, even if it isn't perfect. Lots of force. What's interesting here is that our dough layer is now, it's getting quite thin, but after all these turns, we've worked it so much that the gluten chains have strengthened, and we're actually, what do they call that when you work the dough, beat the dough? Kneading. We've actually kneaded it. It's like the same process. You know, the gluten chains banging into each other, folding, connecting, creating networks. Just on like a two-dimensional layer way. Whoop! Ah. Minutes. Got it. You're still with me. I am so impressed. Okay. But I want to show you something here. See that? That slight discoloration. There it is. Butter. That is butter that did not, that like turned into a chunk a bit, and we can see it through. That's translucent. I can see that coloration through the thin dough layer. And like that kind of thing is like, you know, not ideal, but this process is not dummy proof. You got to practice it, but it's also pretty forgiving. Like that's what I like about this recipe and this process is, you know, you want the lamination to be perfect, but you get like 466 chances or whatever it is for it to be perfect kind of thing. It's, even if it's not perfect, it's almost like overbuilding a building. You know, the amount of everything that goes into this process is like using a 2x6 when you, that's as if you're using a 2x6 rather than a 2x4. So there's room for error, I guess is what I'm saying. But it also takes a ton of practice. All right, at this point, this is really hard to roll out because the dough has been worked so much. I'm gonna put a lot of flour on that side. Yes, okay, that's better. See, I did that because something happens where it stretches on one side and then it doesn't want to roll, but then if you flip it over, then it's like, oh, it will roll a little more agreeably, spread out a little more agreeably. So this is a lot of pressure. Want to show you something else? Hey, buddy. Okay, that right there, you can see that is just a chunk of butter right there. You know, that's definitely okay. And whoever gets that croissant is going to be a happy person. But yeah, this is really hard to roll out, and trying to be careful with applying pressure so that I don't tear the outside dough layer. And we're going for the book turn now, but we don't have to do it as aggressively anymore because now it's going right back into the fridge. And then we're almost done with this part of the process. Oh man. Okay. All right, and here's the crazy part. There's several different methods of putting it into the fridge. Like, it's gonna sit in the fridge for at least 4 hours. This lets it rise again, lets it, the dough, the gluten chains relax again. But there's a couple different methods to putting it in the fridge. And the purpose of these methods is to allow it to, huh?
Oh, you're talking on the phone?
Yeah, I'm recording a video for Jack.
Oh, sorry.
Cause like you're good, Mary Sue. Like, he really wanted to see how I made croissants before he left. And we have not had a chance to get him back here to like watch it. So I'm making a video, and the poor guy, I'm at 21 minutes.
Hey, perfection takes time.
Yeah, that's right. Mary Sue says perfection takes time.
She doesn't know how to cook and bake.
She doesn't know how to cook, but she knows good cooking.
I do. I know good croissants.
There we go. So she knows, and she can see this. It requires perfection and time in at least 22 minutes of a freaking video, complete with coffee talk accents. All right. So anyway, getting into the fridge and in such a way so that the surface remains moist and protected, so that it can cool down and relax, so that we can take it back out and roll out our croissants and actually cut them out. See, like, that part is, I feel like, the most awkward and difficult part, is getting all this, maneuvering this dough baby, so that I can wipe off all the flour, brush off all the flour. Shit, see? That's not good. Maneuvering this dough baby so that I can get all the flour off without destroying the dough. So anyway, the method of keeping it moist while it's in the fridge that I use is a tea towel. I get the tea towel soaking wet and then wrung out as dry as I can get it. I lay out my tea towel flat. And then maneuver our dough package, our dough baby, into the center. Like so. And then form that layer like that with the fold so it doesn't get embedded into the dough. That goes draped over the top like that. And now I'm gonna put this in a couple of plastic bags, just grocery bags. Doesn't have to be super airtight because of that moist tea towel. And then that's going into the fridge. And it's gotta be in the fridge for at least, 4 hours. And then we can roll them out.